Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard D. Myles Sr., CEO, Chairman, and Founder of the Minor Football League. Today is Friday. The MFL, we will bring you updates of what we're doing because of this pandemic. You will hope it was getting better, but as you can see, it's not. So we have to be very, very careful to these young men and our coaches as well as our staff. We had a lot of some of our GMs at Cobra and a couple of coaches, but we are here. We're not going anywhere, but we probably have to push back a little bit in terms of the season because with some places open and we can't get venues in other places. So that's where we stand right now. We'll keep you updated, but as it stands right now, we will put a hold on things so when we make sure that everything open up and we able to do the things that the MFL generally be doing. Like I said, I'm not going to tell nobody to take the shot or not to take the shot. Those are the types of things that I want them to understand about what the MFL is doing and what we're not going to do as far as the minor football league. I have my guest today with me. I have the commissioner, Mr. Chuck Barlow, and the general manager of the Georgia Warriors, which doing a great job down there. I can't say enough. I see you. You always dress up well, sir. You always dress up well. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How you all doing today?
Oh man, MFL Nation, we got them just understanding what the MFL is doing. We have to push back, as you know, down there. You've been doing a great job, but this COVID thing, pandemic, it is serious. And as much as we're trying to shake it, we can't shake it. So these are some of the things that we're trying to do. Your help and your coaches and everybody involved with the Georgia Warriors. We want to make sure it's safe and having the, talking to the powers that be within the NFL, including yourself. We just think it's best that we push back a little bit right now because we don't want nobody to catch this. Right now, everything is so up and down in different areas. So we just think it'd be best for the league and what the league is doing.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I think that this is a critical time in a lot of people's lives, not just, and we know that some people have time to do this, and some people have other things that they need to focus. After I saw what happened with the HBCUs this year, I wasn't pleased, and I realized that as an HBCU graduate, we have to do better to provide opportunities for those young men who were once probably D1 players, some of them, and others deserve an opportunity to get a shot. And I think this is going to really provide a great opportunity for the MFL and then also other leagues. I mean, give these young men from these HBCUs a chance. They to put in their work, and we need to provide that. And I think that what we have with the MFL, yes, we have to push back a little bit just because of the circumstances. It's out of our control. And we know that God is always in charge. And so, respectfully, those of us who understand what we need to do have to do what we have to do. And I just, I'm encouraged because I know I got a couple young guys HBCU graduates and some from D1 colleges. And they want an opportunity. They want a shot. And I feel like the MFL is here, and we need to be able to provide that pipeline for them.
Absolutely. And, I'm glad you say that, Mr. Barlow, because, we really want to concentrate on the HBCUs. I think it should have opened everybody's eyes in terms of when they tried to understand when that draft came up. I think you have a lot of good quality ball players that was not given an opportunity with the HBCUs. And that's something that greatly concerned us at the MFL. I know you have a take on that, so let's bring you up to speed and hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's
being an HBCU graduate yourself.
Well, I can talk about my Morris Brown College experience. Several of my coaches played in the NFL. Matter of fact, my whole coaching staff when I was at Morris Brown College played in the NFL. One of my coaches was the first Pro Bowl receiver for the receiver ever for the Atlanta Falcons in history. Was Alfred Jenkins, Morris Brown College. Mm-hmm. My head coach, Morris Brown College graduate, played in the first Super Bowl. Not only that, the day that he got signed by the Kansas City Chiefs, he was playing baseball at Morris Brown College. He hit 3 home runs in the game. After the game, they signed him to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. So and as a matter of fact, he was drafted in high school to play baseball for the Minnesota Twins. Dad wanted to get an education, but he chose to go to Morris Brown College. So I think that we have to be careful. You start looking at the top 10 best NFL players in history. Jerry Rice is right there. Walter Payton is right there. You know what I mean? Deacon John, they right there. I mean, what are we talking about? So I think, I encourage people to know the history about these things and understand that our HBCUs was the only place that many of our guys would have been able to go and get further that education. And not only that, but to gain the skills they need to be entrepreneurs or businessmen and women. So I think it's important for us to protect the HBCUs that are out here and the PWIs that support our people of color as well. And I think this is critical for our leaders and our alumni, not just for our HBCU, because I appreciate you being a PWI graduate from Arizona State, being concerned, because guess what? A community is made up of more than just people from HBCUs or PWIs. Absolutely. Right? We got to have that diversity. That's what makes it great.
Right. But, it's ironic that you say that, because the great players that did play in that other league there really don't get the recognition that they deserve in terms of not the accolades in terms of the awards and stuff, but I'm talking about the part that they really played in forming and shaping the NFL into what they are now. And, you look at us and this is Black owned, in spite of us being around a long time, and, documentation, these conversations, we're in a laboratory of change, and we're giving people of color an opportunity to be GMs and coaches. And, maybe you can tell me, being a young man that I have a lot of respect for, doing a yeoman job, first time at the GM position, and also been, catapulted because of what you've been doing as a commissioner. We give people opportunities that really take advantage of it. And what I mean by that is they don't feel that they're supposed to work. And I have to say it, we still under the illusion, still thinking if it ain't white, it ain't right. And that has to stop. Even what's going on in the country, and I'm not getting political or anything like that, but I'm not one to bite his tongue when I'm talking about something, especially when it concerns the MFL and people of color. And I want to make it clear, I'm not anti anything else. And I don't like that when you speak up for people of color, you always got to be labeled as something, you know what I mean? So we are going to do something that, talking to some of the board members and yourself, we're going to do something big for the HBCUs. we can push back right now because we have no choice. It's not like we wasn't ready and prepared. It's just in some parts of the country, not that they're not taking it seriously, and though some people doing that too, but even the government stuff, some places they open up, they should not open, and some places close. I just think that we're going to do what we feel is best for the MFL and, go by the laws of CBC. But it just, I have to say it never seems to cease to amaze me how we always, for these opportunities, and when it's given, we don't take advantage of it. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, what you said is right on spot. I mean, it's all about us working together to address these concerns. I mean, when you talk about the opportunities on the next level, right? We know that there are far and few in between, but we also know that many of these players that we talk about on the field contributed off the field. And we understand that whether you're going to be a professional athlete or not, you're going to be a professional something. And I think it's important for those of us who have had that opportunity. Like I have a niece right now, 4.09 student, started all 9 years as a soccer player, and maintain a GPA, giving back to others, helping the community, doing all those things, right? And I had to apologize. And then I last time we were training, I apologized to her. And I know she looked at me funny, and I said, because you all are growing up in a time different from anybody else. You all don't have as many opportunities to go and see other schools. You all are having to stay local, where we had a chance to go out and travel and see these things. And that hurt me. And so I think all of us have to realize that we can do more to help our own. Like I think that the MFL is one of those examples, right? When you see that there's a gap in terms of skill development, whether it's players, coaches, sports franchise type of jobs and opportunity, and bigger than that, ownership. A lot of people aren't offering that. No matter what it is, it don't have to be a sports team. Even in business, people want you to be an employee, but they don't really talk to you about ownership. And so I think that as we continue to move forward and things come back online, things are changing for the better. And many of us who are in leadership positions need to step up and hold ourselves and others accountable who say they want to do this work.
Come down. Yeah, it's it's just never ceased to amaze me. We're always talking about we don't get the opportunity to do a lot of things, and we not afforded that opportunity. And as you know, we get that opportunity and we do nothing with it. We squander it. We still think that what someone else doing is more important than what we're doing. Mr. Barlow, and I take it a young man like yourself, I had the pleasure of knowing you just over a year, and you are a doer. And I'm not afraid to acknowledge when people doing things, but also I get kind of discouraged when you give people of color an opportunity, and if it ain't just everything perfect, we have a tendency to back down. But it reminds me of a friend of mine told me that he was getting ready to retire in those few days, and he was excited about it. And I asked him, why was he so excited? He said, because I've worked 50-some years, and now I get a chance to just sit back. I said, well, think about it. Remember, it was hard to live off 2 paychecks. How you gonna live off 1? Because that's what happens now. You have to downsize everything. And because we don't know about generational wealth, we always praise the other people that got stuff, but we don't feel that we can do these things. And these are the type of things that upset me as an African-American man trying to get our people to understand what we're doing. we can't get them to understand that. And you know, then have it just refreshing when you meet somebody like yourself, and all the things that you're doing. I mean, all the things you not only with your business but other businesses. You're always trying to help young people of color, and I commend you for that. It's just that it's a shame that it's hard to find people like yourself. And you know, we had some good people here, but you know, they misunderstand that if this was easy, everybody would be doing it. You know, I had someone told me about the spring league that came. And you know, one thing about me, I'm happy for anybody doing anything. But also, when you look on their site, everything that the MFL been doing for years is say they took verbatim. Now, this is a league that they've only been around for, I think, for 4 years or so, but everybody's so excited about that. It's just like everything else that comes along, the XFL, and they go on, I'm here. But just to show you how people's mindset is, now, they took everything the MFL been doing for 28 years. They put it up there, and when we said we're not paying players, but we got insurance and all that. Now, this league, not to bash them by no means, use our same word and say we are a developmental league. We do not pay players. Okay? Now, for almost 20, 30 years, you heard that about the MFL. Okay? Then they get the kid that they come in, they're not paid any money or something, you know, but they come in there. Everybody excited. I'm happy for them. I think it was ESPN 3 or one of them they did it great. But when you don't have any overhead and you promise these young people an opportunity and say, we're going to give you a platform, I'm all for that. But it just goes to show you, because of this, it's a difference. You know what I mean? Now,
Well, you know,
they're trying to do something that we've been doing for almost 30 years. But we get no credit. I don't need to be patted on the back because I know what we're doing. But you take that and look at that, but you hear people, then they'll run there. They'll travel, spend their own money traveling, spend their own money for a hotel, and you're not compensated.
right.
But look at the other side. We got insurance, we take it to traveling, the hotel and stuff, but yet and still, we question what how much y'all paying. You never say one thing about they're just like us. It says that we do not pay players. We're a developmental league. We give you a platform where you can be seen. But it's a matter of what you say, who's ice colder than mine.
Well, I mean, you know, I look at it like this: the facts are there. Like you said again, it's enough young people out here for everybody. I tell people like that. We have to stop thinking like scarcity and understand that to each his own, right? I mean, each of our teams in the MFL has 60 spots. You know, I'm in Georgia.
And 32 of us.
You know, there are 32 of them.
Indianapolis.
You know, people say, well, you know, how am I gonna find players? When you have players 6'5", 308 pounds sitting at the house, I don't, you know, how you find players, you gotta get out, and they out there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? 60 spots fill up fast. And so to all these other leagues, I just ask everybody to focus on the quality and building, you know, strategic partnerships and healthy relationships. Because this is really all about giving these guys opportunities, whether they're coaches, players, interns, my board, you know, shout out to my board, shout out to the GMs, shout out to all of the people who are affiliated with the MFL, because it's a hard job, and I know that some of us have family members that have other focus areas, you know what I mean, and we have to be able to respect that. So, you know, I appreciate everybody who's come before me, who's been with me on this journey, because I understand how it is, and during this pandemic, I know there are people who had MFL as a focus, But now with the pandemic going on, they have to focus on other things.
Absolutely.
And so that just provides another opportunity for somebody else in another area who's been waiting on the opportunity in that phone call. And so I think that, moving forward, we have to look at the fact that there are a list of 140 something guys, 50 something guys over the last 2 years that was supposed to go to this HBCU combine. Well, guess what? Those are ball players that have already obviously contributed to their programs, right? Got some numbers and ready to play and get another chance. And so we don't have to look far.
Right.
And I know that list is small, but there are other ball players that these HBCU coaches and some of these smaller schools have done a great job with. So my whole commitment is to give people an opportunity, give them a chance, and try to put a quality product and brand out in the community and on the field. And I think that, to your point about, when it comes to us, we got to do a better job. We all have to step it up. I always tell people that, I'm my biggest critic. I know that I can do better. And if we never look in the mirror and actually look at, where are some areas I can improve? What am I doing good? If we're not doing that and really truly evaluating ourselves as adults and as contributing citizens of this society, then you're always going to find yourself sometimes where you may look successful to yourself, but those who are around you, who watch you, don't feel that same success. And so I think that, as we continue to move forward and building this new world post-COVID, we got to be more considerate about the things that really concern people in our communities.
Absolutely. And also to our GMs doing a great job, and the ones that can continue to do a great job here, and for the new people to get opportunity. That's what the MFL is about, the laboratory of change. The norm is gone. So if you wait for stuff to get back to norm, this is the new norm. And what excites me is the fact that, we're here. We're not going anywhere. But we're not foolish enough to not understand that it's a COVID-19 pandemic out here. And that's no joke. I've been to too many funerals to understand and see that, wait a minute, maybe we need to push back. And for all the great players that we have, which we have some great players, we really excited about them. These are some of the things that we're trying to do as the MFL. But I want people to understand that we understand what we're doing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I agree totally with you. It's critical that we focus on what we've done well and listen to those around us so that we can continue. Because I think that, as we talk about 2020, right? 2020 was a time for us to have, they say that's perfect vision. But I heard that it's 2018 that's perfect, like very, very perfect. But 2020, everybody saw that clearly. And what that said to you is, if you're not serious about what you're doing, you better get serious. And I think that, not only the MFL, but anything that you're aspiring to do in life is worth working for, right? And I think that, as we talk about our young people in our communities, jobs, right? The fact that the MFL is focused on community economic development, the fact that we have people who are entrepreneurs who can talk to those who don't want to necessarily be in a traditional job, those who want to start something. Like, I didn't learn necessarily everything from just doing what everybody else thought. It started from starting something and being able to, learn as you go in some aspects, and then listen to those who are mentors who are around you, who God bring into your life. And what I've learned is that it's not always people who you think going to be your mentors. And I don't ever think that there's a such thing as a bad mentor. Even the bad ones will show you how not to be. You know what I mean? And so I think it's just all about us really understanding intergenerational communication and value. Like, everybody has something to contribute. Even the person that's on the street, sometimes you find out that's a PhD that has some things that happen in their lives. And the mental health issues that our community face with and the social determinants of health, you know, that these things are serious. These things are real. And I think that we need more platforms like the MFL that will allow people to contribute and bring their best practices and solutions and resources to the table.
Absolutely, and you know, like I tell people, the laboratory of change, meaning we want to give people opportunity. I mean, this league is by the people and for the people, you know, and for the economic development, people seem to think that, you know, we've been here, we're a proven commodity, and we want to continue. We want to understand. We want people to understand generational wealth. You know, we're standing on people's shoulders. Mr. Chuck Barlow, you know that. People are going to be standing on our shoulders later. So we want people to understand, you know, we got to stop. We're not going to put up on our website that different leagues that failed, that had money. We wouldn't do that, and what somebody else do is there. We're not going to put up there this league, that league failed. We're not going to do that because it's not about that. It's about the NFL. And we're not worried about what somebody else is doing. And I'll say it again, I'm happy for anybody doing anything. But because I want my people to excel in life, you know, don't look at me as I'm a bad person. And I state again, this is not the Negro Leagues. I'm not anti anything, you know what I mean? So I'm just concerned about what the MFL is doing, young men like yourself, educators and young men to understand it's up to us to give us an opportunity. And we don't give it to them, how they going to get it? Or as the old saying, what people always say, well, you don't have no experience. Well, how you going to get some experience unless somebody give you that opportunity? And that's what the NFL is here. Don't compare us with nobody else. The NFL is who they are. We who we are. There's other leagues, stop. They who they are, we who we are. We don't have a problem in who we are. You know, but don't hate on us because of who we are. You know, stop cheering for people that don't care anything about you or your fight, or anything. We are concerned with what we do as a people, as men of color, as women of color. These are the type of things we got to understand. We have to understand. We have to learn how to get along and support one another. You know, we have to understand that. And Africa, they can't wait till we come, Mr. Barlow. You know, we got everything ready, Mr. Barlow. I mean, I talk to them all the time. They're excited. But they also are very mindful of this this COVID thing is real. You know, it's real. And believe me, I'm everywhere to try to make sure that the MFL and the playing field is level for us. You know what I mean? I talk to a lot of coaches, and we're going to talk to even more at the HBCUs. And the reason I'm focused on them, because I want to know we see you, we hear you. You know what I mean? You know, the opportunity is here. You know, you can sit back home and you can get mad because the other league didn't call you, or you didn't get a trial, or they invite you there just to address. They're going to have problems as well with this thing. You know, they just don't have the problem of worry about having people in there. But when you think about it and you listen to the reports, they're going to let everybody in there. That's a bad idea. You know what I mean? You cannot supervise or you can't police that amount of people. We've gone after smaller venues and they're not open up for us. You know, we understand the rules are always different for us. And I'll just put it out there, and I'm not afraid to say it. The rules are always going to be different for us. But did that make me stop and complain? No. You know, I adapt, I adjust, you know, because that's why we're doing what we're doing. I'm not going to stay up at night and not lose no sleep because of what we're doing. That's why I look almost young like you, Mr. Barlow. You know what I mean? I'm not going to worry myself. I'm 65 years old. I'm not going to worry myself. I'm going to do what I can do. And like I always say, God's in charge. People might think they're in charge, but they're not in charge. God's in charge. And like I said, when God's for you, everybody else can be against you. It doesn't matter at all. We want these young men, we want to give y'all an opportunity to play in the MFL. You know, this is what we're going to do. If it ain't you, it's going to be somebody else. But like I say, we will push back for safety reasons, and because some things is out of our power. We can't, we can't do stuff that people want. Hey, well, you can allow a few people in, and we got to wait. We can't wait till after July to start. We only play 10-game schedule. It's by design our schedule set up like that. We were ready to go, but like I say, sometimes things happen for a reason. Sir, it's telling us, the man in charge telling us, wait a minute, push back for a minute. Look at this thing. And don't mean to label it or bring it up. A good friend of yours as well as mine, I had the opportunity to meet him, the general manager we had up in Philly. I mean, Sean, great guy. Great guy. But, it was time for, in spite of what we thought and how we thought it was God just called him home. So I tell everybody, life is too short. You can sit back there and talk about stuff and say what you're not going to do, or you hating on this. I ain't got time to hate on nobody. I want us to understand that we had great GMs, Mr. Barlow, Dave Glasgow down in South Carolina, Mr. Watson down in North Carolina, down in South Carolina. We had some great, and the Maryland Coach Jim and Coach Smith. We got some great people, man, doing a great job and was ready to go. And they're about MFL because they understand MFL gave them an opportunity nobody else would give them. And they're taking advantage of it. Right. GM said to me, here, coach, he said, Dr. Myles, we go until you tell us not to go. It's as simple as that. We don't worry about what outside people saying, and we're pushing forward. So now it gives us the opportunity to look at others. We got a lot of calls from players now, all of a sudden. Then we get a lot of calls from different parts in the country. Bring a franchise here, Dr. Myles. Bring it here. Please bring it here. Because see, it's a lot of people more appreciative of some things that sometimes we have in front of them, we don't appreciate it. Mr. Barlow, we just don't appreciate it until it's gone.
Yeah, and sometimes the timing ain't right. You know what I mean? And one thing I learned about life is you can make a lot of plans, but if it ain't part of God's plan at that time and that moment, you keep pressing and you're going to find out. So I'm one of those people that kind of pay attention to the signs,
Mm-hmm.
A yield mean yield. You know what I mean? Don't go flying through. You can say yield, you know what I mean? And so we got to make sure that we pay attention to the signs and respect each other's contributions. You know what I mean? I think, what I love about this conversation is intergenerational, right? A lot of people say these conversations can't happen. Well, they're happening, right? And I think we have to focus on the small wins. I'm a big believer in grit and resilience. See, most people have grit. And for those who don't know is you have what it takes to get something done. But what I have found, though, is some of us have to work towards being more resilient. And that is, you had the grit, you were able to do it, but something happened. There was a setback for you. Some people never come back from those setbacks. But I'll give you a quote my dad always shares with me. I'm not sure who said it, but I remember it. He said, setbacks are set up for comebacks. It's all about how you look at it. It's all about, did you learn the lesson and are you going to learn the lesson and get the blessing? Or are you just going to have to learn the lesson? It's your choice, and if you don't learn the lesson, I know I've learned that you're going to repeat it somewhere in life. And so I think it's important for us to stay positive at all times and try to keep good, healthy relationships, even when things aren't going well, so that you can revisit the situation if it's not working out at that time. And so, as we just talk about legacy and the importance of a lot of things we just shared today, one thing I like to talk about too is 1969 was the first time a black college played a all white, almost all white team. And that was actually in Tampa, Florida. The coach in Tampa. University of Tampa had a team, and it didn't last long. But I remember one of the quotes that the head coach, the white head coach, said. And they played FAMU. And, of course, he caught a lot of, pushback because what the state was concerned about was a race war. They thought, they shouldn't be playing each other, right? But a lot of people don't know history about these HBCUs that were national champions. A lot of those PWI powerhouses at the time would not even play these national black champions in a game. People need to know that. Matter of fact, there are several all black high school national champions, or at least state champions, that the white state champion would not play. So let's make sure that we don't forget the fact that HBCUs weren't open because they were taking less talented students. They were open because they wanted to provide those who wanted an opportunity to get an education. If they were student athletes, then they had a chance to play. But many athletes who went to HBCUs back in the day didn't go to think about playing the sport. Matter of fact, Coach Saul always tells me, when he played, it wasn't no money. People played because they loved the game. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, you had people who were in the Hall of Fame from HBCUs who played because they loved the game and were good at it. And so I think we just have to take a step back and realize not the draft and other things that are going on in our lives are examples of how some of us need to do a better job at leading. I always challenge those who always blame young people for everything. Young people aren't in charge of anything. When you look at all of our leaders in the world, it's not young people. It's mature adults, seasoned adults, who have grandchildren, at least some spouse or somebody that they in some type of relationship with, family members even. And many of us who are in those positions hold them to too much of a high standard when it comes to the title, opposed to the work. Like when people elect you and when you're appointed to do things, that's because they expect you to be able to come in and have that same level of commitment that got you the job or got you the opportunity. And so my thing is to just challenge all of us, man. Like just take a look in the mirror every now and then, not to see if you got your line right or you got your makeup on right. Look in the mirror, look in your own eyes to see, are you the person who you say you are when you're going out in the streets and you're doing this work? I tell people all the time, we always are blaming somebody else for the way that things aren't working out. But I always ask people, and I had to learn this as a trainer. It took me a couple of years because I always thought people need to be the best at what they do. But then I also learned that people just really need to get a best effort at what they do. And hopefully, if it's to be, then it'll be. If not, at least they figure that out. So I always just challenge people not to shortchange themselves. Give your best effort at whatever it is that you say you're going to do. And that's all it is. When I joined the MFL, all I wanted to do was give my best effort at what I said I was going to do. And that's what I'm committed to.
Absolutely. And, I look at people like yourself and remind me of an old coach of mine, high school coach. He said, Mr. Myles, they would call you Mr., you have pretenders and contenders out here. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it's like some people think they're better than what they truly are. And then you have people that want to be a part of something, what do we call them, bandwagon people, jump on. But when the time to do stuff, they can't do it. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, I can't do this. There's nothing wrong with you saying, I cannot do this.
Right.
I thought I could, but I couldn't. It's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
If you can't do, no one mad with you. But, I tell people all the time, even when I coached, I used to tell guys, don't come to me and tell me all this. You know what I mean? Because you can tell me you can fly. I believe it, Mr. Barlow. But when it comes time to fly, you can't, because we got a problem, because you said it to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So are you always quick to tell people, Don't do that. You know what I mean? Because it's a big disappointment when you say you can do all these things and you can't. And, don't get mad with somebody else. Those was your words. And we need to stop thinking we need to impress upon people. You don't have to. I used to tell my son all the time, you don't have to impress me. You're my son. Just be who you are. I'm going to love you regardless. You can be rich or famous. It doesn't matter because you're my son. My son, what I say that too. And I'm going to be proud of you. Remember, regardless. And, people think, but I am a competitor, man. Losing is just not in my vocabulary. It's not. I don't believe in losing. I don't believe in you can't do anything. You know what I mean? I don't believe that. I think people can do anything they set their minds to it. But we tend to have people that lazy and want things that just happen for them. That's not life. Right. And I tell everybody, every night you go to sleep, that's a chance, Mr. Barlow.
Yes, sir.
It's only by the grace of the Lord that angel don't touch you. You don't wake up next day. Because it could have been the other way. So every time you wake up every day, it's a blessing, because I tell people all the time, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint.
Right. Come
on, this ain't no sprint. You try to sprint through life and you wonder you'll have a heart attack. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, and not to be, down it or laughing, it's for real, And I tell people, you got to like me, disrespect what I'm doing. I ain't got to like you, but I'm going to respect what you're doing.
Right.
But we tend to be jealous and envy of each other for no reason. And I'm quite sure even as nice as guys you had people that dislike you for no reason. No reason. And you know why? Because you're doing something and they're not. They're not. They don't have the guts to do what you're doing. But they quick to say something. And that's what I always say, and I want to wish all the mothers, all the mothers, the grandmothers, happy Mother's Day from the MFL. Something will go up. Your mother, your wife, and I always say, I want to thank them for allowing us to do what we're doing.
Right.
To allow us to do this. Because we do put other stuff aside that do need our attention at home. But the wives and stuff and the ladies or the significant other holds it down.
Right.
We're here later on, but they hold it down. So I want to take this opportunity to say that, I want to thank y'all, for allowing us to do that. And, I think, Mr. Barlow, that's chaplain and me coming out. It comes out. I hear you when you're talking too, but, I want to thank everybody, and I say that, not that we get ready to go off or nothing. I just like to take time to recognize people that do a lot for us behind the scenes. Just dealing with us and what we're trying to accomplish when so many people just, they just don't care. They want to cheer for the other people. Don't know them, but they just, and that's something we got to understand. We got to understand we have to be supportive. We got to stop being the biggest consumers in America, and we have nothing to show for it. We got to stop. We got to stop doing that. We got to learn to support us. I'm happy for anybody doing anything. And I'm not just saying that because, me, you've been around me for a while. I'm real. Am I perfect? No. If you know somebody perfect, let me meet them. You know what I mean? But I tell people all the time, I'm going to be honest with you. You might not like what I say, but I'm going to be honest. And I like people to be honest with me. So, you find, it's the people that you meet along the way. And I tell people all the time, I'm like a puzzle. I check the pieces as I go. Just like you, Mr. Barlow, your piece. Fit right in the puzzle. But some of them don't fit, and we have to throw them, we have to discard them because they don't fit. And it's hard to try to fit something that don't fit. But no one can say in as far as internship, coaching, or whatever, they can't say the NFL did not give them the opportunity. Now, whether they took advantage of it, that's up to them.
Right.
But they cannot say that we didn't give them opportunity.
Right.
We did not. They cannot say that we talk negative about them. You know, everybody used to laugh at me because if I disliked a person, I would never say nothing bad. And they said, well, wait a minute, he's saying this and that about you. Only thing I would say, if he's a beggar, I just don't buy bread from him. Now, that is as negative as I'm going to get, because we had that problem with us pulling one another down. Right. We've been doing that for centuries. We got to stop it. Yeah. We got to stop it.
Right. I mean, yeah, and I mean, everything ain't for everybody. I mean, you know, it's like going to the shoe store, right? You try on a pair of shoes, it might say it's your size. But how many pair of shoes you put on that says your size, and you look at it like, wait a minute, but they don't fit. Sometimes you try to walk out the store with them anyway, right? And you pay the price. So I mean, at the end of the day, I just like people to just take time to find out what works best for you and do that, and do it well. Be best at it. I know I'm great at what I do because that's my goal. I don't. Nobody has to tell me that you need to do. You know, if I'm gonna commit to it, that's just what I'm gonna bring to the table. And that's what I was taught at Morris Brown. And shout out to Morris Brown alumni and all the family and friends of people who actually helped support the college for the last 20 years. Morris Brown is the only institution, I think, in America, if I'm not mistaken, that has lost accreditation and has now gotten its candidacy back for reaccreditation. I don't think it's any PWIs that ever done that either. And shout out to the leadership and the alumni for doing that. And like I said, the family and friends again. Because guess what? Dr. Myles, I've been in situations where I supported all institutions, PWIs, technical colleges, you name it. Sister institutions in the same community, but I ain't get that same love and respect. But that didn't keep me from showing up and saying it, even if I was the only person in the room. See, what people fail to realize is Morris Brown, our logo, not logo, but our mascot is a Wolverine. Now, if anybody knows the story about a Wolverine, they know it's not a dog. They think it is, but it's not. If you corner a Wolverine and you try to capture it, guess what it does? It fights to the death. You don't go to the zoo and see many Wolverines in there. They might have got one or two, but they're not to be captured. They fight to the death. And so what I was taught and what I mean by that is, you got to fight for what's real for you, for the life of it, before you fight for the death of it. You know, I always heard people say, man, I'd die by that. Okay, well, what about living for it first? You know what I mean? Living for it means that don't just grab your gun and go fight because something's wrong. You got to be proactive when things are not right. Don't wait till it goes all the way wrong, or don't wait till you feel like somebody else needs to do it. Step up. You know, that's what I learned. Step up to the plate.
Absolutely.
If you see something wrong and you can do something about it, or you know somebody with a resource, share it. You know, that's what I learned. And that's what I'm saying. Like that story about
Right.
People will appreciate this story one day. Right? Because people think money is everything. Money is not everything. The great spirit is everything.
Right. Absolutely. Right. And also, they don't understand, Mr. Barlow. People think money is the answer, but I've never seen a Briggs truck behind a hearse. I tell people that all the time, meaning you can't take it with you. And a great general, and he wasn't black, of Caucasian descent. He always said, people that always stand up and say, it's an honor to die for your country, you know, don't believe that. You make the other guy die for his, you don't die for yours. You know, and Patton said that to all the black troops, and, you know, people don't understand that, you know, it's very important that we understand and learn to support one another. I mean, we got to learn to support one another, and that's something we don't do. Why we don't do it, I don't know. Generations of being brainwashed and treated like, don't trust each other, look out for me, and just disregard your people. But when you need them, who's going to be there for you? It's going to always be somebody of color. So, I tell people all the time, we just got to stop, stop being afraid to support each other. Life is too short. We're excited about the MFL. We look forward. We're going to pull back. We pull them back. We had too many things do with this COVID will make us just step back a little bit and just wait. We're going to try to weather the storm. We weathered storms for years. Seems like everything come up against us, we weather it. So we are still, if players that's interested in playing in the MFL, you can call us, 240-551-8031. We're on our website is mflishere.com. We're there giving y'all an opportunity to, play in the NFL. We want everybody to, come and experience what we're doing. We got great people like Mr. Chuck Barlow. Look at us, a young man right there, the commissioner of this conference, a GM that's doing a great job. These are the kind of things that don't generally happen. We got so many great coaches over in the other league, and I'm not bashing nobody, that don't get an opportunity that you had, Mr. Barlow.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Really
just like you said, Dr. Myles, this is 2021. We move beyond having perfect vision. We see what it is now. Seize the opportunities. Right?
Absolutely.
MFL is here, laboratory of change, community and economic development. We have MFL combines going on. Hit us up, mflishere.com. Georgia Warriors MFL @gmail.com. Come see me. These spots are gonna fill up fast. I got a couple of guys already hit me up. A couple of high school coaches say, man, I got six guys doing roofing, walking around.
I seen them guys, made me jealous.
Hey, I said, Coach, don't worry about it. I said, I'm not gonna take him away from roofing, but I want to make sure that he can start his own roofing company.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, how do we help them get to that level so that they can finish their careers? And so that's what I love about this opportunity is that I just ask everybody, man, give yourself a chance. Give the MFL a chance. Share with others. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, 60 spots gonna fill up fast. I'm telling you right now. The Georgia Warriors are gonna be here. We are here.
Absolutely.
Georgia, we're here. We're here to support all 159 counties all day.
Absolutely.
Watch, we'll show up and support you. Watch. What's up?
And the great thing about it, Mr. Barlow, the fact that the GMs are doing a good job, and we want them to understand that these players, these players have an opportunity. We want to push back. We have to. And like I was saying, just tell us something. Everybody was upset last year because I said, we're not going to go. Why not? It was the best thing we could do. But after now that we're still ready to go with the opportunity for coaches, opportunity for players, and we're going to push on with the combine. We want to get everything in place. But if by the help of the Lord, I know we knock on wood, it do break, we'll go, with a few games just to, highlight these young guys. But, people have to understand this is not easy. By no means, it's not easy. And I've been to enough funerals, I've been to enough breaks, and I'm quite sure and even in our ranks, we have people that get sick and stuff with the NFL. But we just gonna have safety, y'all safety, and the players' safety, and the first is dear to us. But the NFL is going nowhere. I always say documentation, be conversation. We've been here and we're gonna be here. But this is something that you just playing Russian roulette if you step out there like this. And we know some places shut down for a reason we can't get them. Some places don't. That ain't no reason. We're not gonna get upset about that because we follow the rules. We had nothing to do with. Those are powers that we have no control over. Are we a little disappointed? Hey, but like you say, Mr. Barlow, you know, sometimes God tell you, hey, take a look at this now, step back. You know,
That's right.
but the main thing, as you say, we will be still guys interested in the league. We're on all the social media platforms. There's plenty of opportunities here for coaches, even GMs. But we want y'all to get that opportunity, you know, in the minor football league.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this
Mm-hmm.
individuals
Right.
are looking for that. Like you said before, the draft is over, right?
Right.
You already signed you, or they gonna call you. But one thing we do know is that those players might get injured. You gotta have film. So those of you who've been out of football for 1 or 2 years, the MFL is here. You need that film. They will call because they have to call. They gotta replace somebody if they injured and can't go. Where's your film? Georgia Warriors, MFL is here. Find a team, get your film together. Like, believe it or not, somebody's sitting on their couch, whether it's a parent or a coach, who gonna make the call today to that player who they know need that film because he know he's supposed to be playing on the next level. And so I just want to thank everyone for supporting what we're doing and grow with us. Like, that's one thing I like about it is that we know we're not gonna get everything right, but I tell you one thing, we are gonna sit down and listen to those who are willing to help us get it right.
Absolutely. And like I say, one great thing about us, documentation be conversation. We weathered everything they can throw at it. Like I say, God's in charge, no matter what you throw at. Sometimes, Mr. Barlow, I feel like I should have been a hurting, man. We've been jumping over so much stuff that came our way, and some good things as well. Not everything bad. You know, like I said, we got some great coaches and stuff, and GMs, and you know, we're going to push forward, but I want MFL Nation to know we're going to push back a little bit because this is real. Places we cannot get, they're not allowing us in there. The few places we can get don't want to give us the numbers. So it just gives us an opportunity to load up more in terms of these guys. We can get them in here now. And swallow the fact that they can't play in that other league because they didn't get called. Don't worry about it. MFL is here. Like I said, I want to thank my guest, always, Mr. Chuck Barlow, the commissioner of the Southern Division down there, and also the general manager of the Georgia Warriors. You know, I thank you. You know, like I say, happy Mother's Day to your wife and to Mama and them, and happy Mother's Day to MFL Nation mothers and wives. You've been watching another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard D. Myles Sr., along with Mr. Chuck Barlow Jr. See you later.